And the starting point at my wife and I, Elaine, were both only 21 years of age. Actually, we were pretty young. I'd worked, 7 days a week from the age of 15 when I graduated from school, or 15 in one day. I still remember going to the teacher and saying that I'm finishing school today, and he said, "What's the issue?" I said, "I've graduated," and I went home and talked to my parents. It was a tremendous day as far as I was concerned. I'd had a job across the road from where my parents live, and it was I just still remember it as a fantastic day. Didn't know how I was going to get there, but I figured I could drive a car around the road at that particular stage until I got pulled up by the police and asked me what age I was. I told them I was a few years older, but you shouldn't really do that. But it was all a whole lot of fun. But we started farming, and I guess the one thing was that both of us were prepared to work. And so Elaine was out there as much as I were, whether it was milking the cows in a little walk-through dairy that we've got there. We started with 100 cows. 2 had died in the first week from lack of knowledge, and so that wasn't a good start. 4% of your herd dead within a week was pretty disappointing. I still remember I had another job at the same time as well. I still remember going off to work at 7 in the morning after we'd already milked the cows and had a few tears in my eyes, crying and thinking, what am I doing? And I was, trying to learn from neighbour and trying to make sure we'd do a better job. I guess that, and Elaine was pretty keen also, and she was pregnant when we first went to the farm, had a young baby there, young Gavin, and on top of that, she grew all the food that we actually needed on the farm, and we'd get a bit of cream and make our own butter. It was just ridiculous when I think about it. I can't believe how much time we'd spend to try and save $5. But and we worked away, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. I don't think Elaine thought we had the same amount of fun that I did, but I found this picture yesterday. I couldn't find any old pictures. It was sort of ridiculous, really. So I started taking a few photos of pictures that were on the wall. I had a whole lot of Nuffield ones up there. They're all on slides, believe it or not. And I was starting to say, well, hold on, yesterday afternoon, I need this to be done. I better get some old photos. So I found that one, and she said, "You've never fed the calves in your life." But there was one day I had actually done that work, so I was pretty proud of that. I guess that you'd look forward and say, well, what's changed? There's a lot changed, really, in that time. It's a different time, I guess, different era, I suppose you'd say. Maybe no work safe issues, officers, and the family were on the job with us. The kids were out there, there and about with us from number 1, 2, 3, as family progressed. Whatever we did, they were out there. I think that was the first tractor I ever bought. I had a little old grey Fergie, or David Brown, I should say, and then we bought that tractor. It was 4-wheel drive. I thought it was just unbelievable. I still remember, having actually I was going to say overweight wife, but that'd be a lie. I still remember having Elaine sit on the front of the little tractor that David Brown, as we drove up a hill, and said, "You've got to stay in the front of the tractor." And when the wheels lifted it back off the ground, and they got about a metre off the ground, she started screaming at me, Peter, what am I going to do now? I said, "Just don't let go, stay there. If you jump off, the whole thing's going to tip up." So it was lucky she was a good ballast, and she managed to hold the tractor down. I think Gavin was, maybe we've actually might have turned him off farming. So one of the children works in the seed business with us, but we might have turned him off the agriculture stuff. We maybe worked him a little bit hard early on, but there was no childcare. I guess there wasn't childcare. There wasn't even kids-free days. You heard of that one? I didn't know that one, but there was no kids-free days. In fact, I still remember taking Gavin to work. I worked at a local factory as well, and when Elaine worked a night shift, I'd take him up there in a basket and drop him in the lab. And they said, "What are we going to do if he cries?" I said, "I'll get a bit of milk out of one of the vats out here and we'll give him a feed. He'll be right." Tip the bottle up, put something under it, and just hope he would drink. It was a different time, to say the least. But to us, that we knew no different. We were young. We weren't uni educated. We weren't as worldly wise as people are today. And so, the only thing we really knew was just have a go. And that, I must admit, we were definitely up early in the morning, and we worked every day of the week. I don't really know why, but that's what we were doing. At the same time, my wife Elaine was a nurse. I love the hat; it's just a ripper. I took a photo of that on the wall yesterday as well. I was thinking, wow, that's amazing. I got a bit of reflection, but she was nursing. She'd finished nursing, and and then she was pregnant at the time, and she said she'd work 2 days a week, so 2 nights a week. I got a job at a local cheese factory because I'd done a cheesemaker's course at Druin for 4 or 5 years, and I said, "I'll work there for 5 days a week, and you work there. You can work nursing 2 nights a week. I'll drop the kids off, or the first child there, young Gavin. I'll drop him off at the neighbours on the way to work at 20 to 7 in the morning after milking, and you can pick him on the way back home from nursing at 7:30 in the morning." So it was a busy time, but a great time. youngest daughter on the right there, Stacey, I'll tell you a story about her later. She also helped, they all really helped feeding out a bit of hay and doing the jobs that were required. I think that actually our first feed out cart, this is a beauty, they now cost you $100,000, but that one was just a spike on the back of the 3-point linkage. Pretty dangerous when you think about it. You know, you'd walk around or an animal would start hanging around you for some feed and just about bump you into the end of the spike. But we thought that, you know, it was about $30 at the time, and a neighbour welded it up and we said, this is pretty good. Jump off the back of the tractor and, you know, let the tractor go. And I'd always try and get somewhere that's pretty flat. There was no flat land at Pirong really, but climb off the back of the tractor, get back on again, and away you'd go. It was an interesting, but we got the feed fed out and it wasn't something to break down. Nowadays you get bills for, I don't know how much every month to actually fix this sort of thing, but admittedly there weren't much being fed out, but it worked pretty well. We were growing crops at the same time. We thought we were pretty innovative really, and we'd have farmers come and have a look at, you know, how you're growing these turnip crops, and we'd grow, you know, 5% of our farm each year, and we'd say, this is pretty amazing. You know, we'd look at, and we'd improve that, put that into new and improved pasture. So we realised that we had to grow more feed, we had to have better fences. We were doing some trials in plant breeding because I was pretty interested. We ring up New Zealand plant breeders. They'd send us over some seed and we put them in trials there. I think there's my wife there, myself, and this is a 25-year-old photo, and I think, and also Andrew Alsop, a guy that's worked for us for the last 17 years. So at that stage he wasn't working for us, but you know, we're pretty proud of the fact we've had some fairly long-term employment. Actually, this one makes me laugh. As a picture of us, we won an award for, you know, best farm of assets under 500,000, and we went down to the Royal Showgrounds. They gave us this magnificent silver tea service. I've never seen it again. I know it's in the cupboard somewhere, so I'll maybe have to have a cup of tea one day when someone from the English aristocracy comes over to visit me, and you know, just see that I'll get that out and you know, impress them with our a bit of pomp and ceremony. I guess the things that we were doing along the way was we started building laneways, and as we started to acquire some land, and we were acquiring neighbouring farms. What we do, and this is Elaine probably only about 7 or 8 years ago there, it looks like there seems to be only one person doing any work and someone else taking photos, but we'd go out to the auger, dig a post hole, and then the next day we'd head out with some water that night after we'd finished work or whoever was there, and, you know, drop about a couple of inches or 50 mil of water, you know, in each of the post holes, and go back the next night and dig again. And we thought, geez, that saved us getting a post rammer, you know. So we weren't thinking, but we're progressively doing this sort of work. And later on, you can see there, we'd get the scrapers in and level it out and cut and fill hills, and we just thought we were changing the world. We're continually doing pasture improvement on the farm, and that's what we're aiming at. We're trying to say, well, the farm has to be productive. And I used to get up, I see friend who did Nuffield with us in the audience here, and I used to say to myself every day, today's the day we put another New Zealand dairy farmer out of business. Yeah, I'd be rubbing my hands together. It was just brilliant. We never did that, but I had some dreams. The dreams were probably, a lot of them were a bit unrealistic. We're interested in pastures, cropping, farming, I suppose you might say, and you know, as usual, kids were out there, and a couple of neighbours as well. We pinched a few there by the look of it, just looking at how we grow turnip crops, whether it was maize, chicory, a whole host of those things. We grew maize for our dairy cows, and I guess that that was a feed that became a staple part of the diet. We'd started a seed business, which I'll talk about a bit later on, but the Royal Ag Society said to us, you know, after winning this award, you know, you guys have got to run a field day. So, you know, Elaine said, no, we'll organise the food. I'll bake enough, I'll do a few cakes. That's what you do, you know, you've got to do some cakes because her mum was English, and you do cakes, scones, creams, those sort of things. They're very good. Cup of tea and a bicky. And anyhow, we said we're going to cater for about 30 people, but we didn't actually realise it was going to be, you know, over 100 turn up. So it became a little bit of a hassle, but she raced around to local stores and managed to make sure they were all fed. It became a bit bigger later on. We ran some field days. They varied in size from, you know, 300 to probably 700 people, and they become a bit of an event we did every couple of years. We had buses come from Western Victoria, Gippsland, and we'd hire by that stage a sausage sizzle trailer. We were gourmet cooks. Not really, you know, give them a sausage and a can of drink and say, that's it guys, that's about all you're getting. And we get the trailer, put on about 1,000 sausages on the thing, and just make sure we had enough to feed them. I guess that their earlier era was that, if I go back one, the early era was to do it in a carving shed, set up a little trailer and away we go, set up some calf bales hay bales the day before, and the show would begin. I think that day we actually learned a bit. It was probably about 38 degrees, and I stupidly, being not very old, decided we can all walk to the top of the hill. We had some 60-year-olds, I better not saying about that, I'm that now myself, but old people. I said when I was about 30, the 60-year-olds, geez, they're past it, 70-year-olds, and they're all walking to the top of this hill here, all heading up there and trying to actually, and we didn't even have enough water. We'd forgot about getting water. So luckily we got the, cow hose went up at the top of the hill, filled the 44-gallon drum. When they come back, we gave them little cups that they all drank and had to, get the water out of the drum. It was just interesting having a look around. We continued to do that and become fairly streamlined at looking at field days. And really, the reason why they worked pretty well was we're looking at common sense things that Nuffields would look at. We're looking at, how do you do something and how do you make money out of it? Those are probably two things. And how do you make the whole job easier? So those were common themes. And we try and think of what is a common theme in the farming area that we were farming at the time. So that's what we're looking at. I'll flick through those. I said there that coach line was from Warrnambool, but Wins is from Maffra, so I got that one a bit wrong. But, we have coaches come down and various farmers. It's great to look back for old photos and have a look at farmers from various areas that come along and had a look at what we're doing on those days. Nuffield Scholarship, well, that was certainly an eye-opener to me. I mean, travelling with some tremendous people who were super, super, super enthusiastic. This was down in Argentina. But we started off the Nuffield Scholarship where we started in Asia. And I'm going to apologise to one of the people in the audience that he was showing a lot of attention on that particular day. I still staring up in the air. It's just disgraceful, really. It was a lot of work to put into this particular person. But we had a lot of fun. We went, it was a Nuffield Scholarship every third year at that particular stage. And I was talked into by Max Gilbert, who's a tremendous friend and tremendous Nuffield, obviously. And he talked me into applying. We headed off. We met in Singapore. We travelled to Malaysia, Thailand, France, UK. I then headed down through South America and also back up to North America. I think that, and I do remember the very person who talked me into applying for the scholarship, who was Max Gilbert. Actually, while I was away, he come to our place because we'd started the seed business at this stage and knocked on the front door and come in and my young daughter, who was actually missing me a fair bit, or one of them, said to, she opened the door as about a 10-year-old, she's pretty blonde, pretty blue-eyed, looked up at Max, who's about a 6-foot tall, guy who's always had a lot on, and he opened the door and he said, "I'm Max Gilbert, I've just come to see if we can get some seedage." She said, "I know who you are," looking him up in the eye. He said, "You're the guy who sent my dad away," and then started crying. Yeah. So until the day that Max passed away, he reminded me of that in fact, on the day of his death, he reminded me that. He said, "Remember the day young Stacey told me you're the guy that sent my dad?" I said, "I do, Max." I said, "I wasn't there, but I've heard the story 100 times. I went to America, looked at fat cows, people that ate a lot more than us as well, but I started chasing that dream also. Well, the interesting thing for us was just in England, we had great fun. The dress code was amazing to me. I'd never seen anything like it. The tie, the jacket, the English, they were a lot more, to be honest with me, they were a lot more English than I expected. They really... they were amazing to us. I still remember Murray Douglas and me actually visiting Richard Holland, who was a chair of Nuffield at that stage, and we decided all of a sudden we got just about to his house and we realised, hell, we better put our tie on. We better stop. So we got ourselves dressed out of our pair of jeans and the appropriate attire that we thought was appropriate, and back into the attire that would fit the occasion to visit the esteemed chairman of Nuffield in the UK. But it was great, it was tremendous to visit them, and it was a tremendous experience in every way, sense and form. Coming back from the Nuffield, I guess that we decided to go into some seed business in northern New South Wales, so we bought a 100-year-old store that was in Armidale. It was an introduction to that particular area. We started to do that, and it was an investment where we thought we'd be able to sell seed into that particular area. We started doing more pasture trials because we had started a seed business. I'll go for a little bit of that later. The pasture trials were really just designed to try and see what will grow and how do we grow more. This is one we've been doing at Finley. This was only taken about a year ago for a good friend of mine, Neville Kidd. They're successful farmers, very successful farmers actually at Finley. They've been there for a long period. Neville and I went to school together. I was nearly going to say kinder, but there was no such thing. But we went to school together, and they were, and we still go up there. I've done that trip. It takes me 5 hours and 6 minutes if I don't stop for more than 5 minutes on the way. And basically, and then you have the 5 hours back. But we've gone up there for probably 20 odd years, looking into pasture trials and seeing how they would go. And it's been an inspiration to see what they've done also up there. We put the same trials in East Gippsland, in strip tiles, because we were just interested in this. We really wanted to just know what would work, because if we're going to talk to farmers about it, we need to know, what's going to do the job. Actually, it was funny, we only found this last year, and one of the young guys in the office said, what's changed? I said, well, someone piped back, the guy on the right-hand side, he's taken his shorts off and the other guy's put them on. So I said, I thought that, yeah, that's an interesting one. If we got a close-up of that, I reckon we'd age, but we don't want to do that. We're into it. We're saying. So we were doing more of these pasture trials at Lardner. I can't spell names properly. I never could, and I realised I'd spelt that wrong, but I thought, who cares? No one knows where it is anyhow. But so we're setting up more sophisticated trialling of pastures and just seeing what was going on. Same time as this was all happening, I was president of a local footy club for 11 years, football netball club. That was a challenge. I'll tell you, it was a real challenge. Probably the most unsuccessful president ever. Yeah, we were actually, we did a lot of stuff. We raised a fair bit of money. We got ourselves in the Sydney Morning Herald and spoke to John Laws and a whole host of others when we had a bit of a problem with watering the ground in water restriction. Apparently there's a pipe put in, it was a long time before me, but I used to remember the old guys that say to me, you'll never run out of water here, so don't worry about that. And they piped in from apparently it must have been piped in, I don't know who did it, but someone had piped in from the mains water into a local dam. And so we were watering the ground, and that's what happened. No one knows who did it, but we had a green ground, and I was really proud of it. I just thought this is fantastic. And later on, we put in some pop-up sprinklers there, but there was a lot of good fun there. But one of our best occasions of raising money was when we actually we were always someone wanting to raise money. So we bought 2 pallet loads of tea for about $2,000 and cut the tokens off one night after training, and cut the tokens off and managed to win, I think, a $20,000 award and a $10,000 award in the Bushels Good for Community Tea contest. So they kept saying, and I kept banging on every Thursday night at local training, get your mothers and grandmothers and everyone else to cut out their tea tokens. Well, bloody hell, no one did anything. At the end of it, you were getting near the end of this competition and we had like 50, and we decided we'd Google the people who were actually leading the competition and said we're looking at doing fundraising and do they know any ways, and I couldn't believe it. The school wrote back and said that they'd got 1,600 tokens to a bit of fundraising, and we looked at the size of the school. They had 1,500 people, and we said, if they've got 1,500 tokens, why don't we just go and buy the tea, cut the tokens out, and we might be able to win it for $2,000. I still remember the meeting. They said, what are we going to do with the tea if we don't win? I said, well, I'll buy it. I'll pay for it. But and then there was a problem at the end. They said, what are you going to do? We said, we're going to give it away. So we continued on in improving pastures, and around that Purong area tried to get better laneways and tried to make sure that worked. Next project was a dairy we set up at Walker in New South Wales. It was a dairy we set up in, and we say it's Australia's top dairy, according to us. Well, highest is top. Mount Everest is top of the world. So we said, well, we're the highest dairy in Australia in altitude. We also said attitude, but getting tested at the moment, I'll be honest. But, so we set fire to the place. Peter Best, a fellow Nuffield, went up there with us, and in the Easter of 2008, we flew up there, bought 2 bikes in town, got a set of bolt cutters, cut the locks. The owner who we'd purchased property off us away, and by the end of the weekend, we'd burnt the 1,200 acres. I think we had 1 casualty, which was a post. We burnt the 1,200 acres. We blocked the local highway. No one complained, which is fantastic. We were thinking, this is great. We managed to build 50 of those troughs ourselves, and over a 6-month period, set up a dairy. So it took us 6 months, or a little bit under 6 months to say, from start to finish. It's pastures, laneways, fences, troughs. My wife, Elaine, had never been up there. She said to me, well, you go up, and if you think it's a good idea, that's okay. She came up in the middle of winter on a freezing day, and she said, I'm not sure if this is really okay, but about 700 cows were shifted 1,300 kilometres on one day in 2 minutes, end of September in that year. They're up there now milking, so it was a big day. There's only a couple of us who are actually involved in dairy, so we got that going over a couple of week period. That was looking what it looks like in the September period. That's what it's like when we're doing the silage. And that's what it's like when we don't really love that. We said we're producing pure ice cold milk at that particular stage. That was our marketing ploy on it. Shifted down, sent this to Parmalat, told them that Walker Dairy was an icon of Queensland. We kept sending this sort of stuff to them, but eventually now we're in the Queensland milk marketing pool. So we'd have pictures of our farm, we'd have pictures of everything. We'd say we're Walker Dairy, an icon of Queensland with the Great Barrier Reef, the meter maids, you name it. And it's going to lead, it says there, it's leading to rivers of Parmalat gold. We're hoping to lead to a bit of gold for ourselves. So I quickly saw the young guy we've been advocating to try and up the value of liquid milk and the $1 milk, and I decided I better get myself in a Queensland jersey there and drinking a bit of milk. Better get in with the real spirit. Farm study tours we did, and trying to do that. That's a fellow Nuffield there, Daniel Mead, and I. We followed Deb's Renford lead to eat a bit of lard, put on a bit of weight, did appropriate training just to make sure we could jump into the Irish Sea. We certainly made sure we did that. We've continued to do farm tours with both people we work with and also others. I guess that's in Ireland, David Wynne Finch's. We couldn't believe it on one of our study tours. We were actually over there looking, there's no roof on that particular shed there. We're thinking that's a bit crazy. We're going to skip through these. The seed business, if we flick back one more, probably about one more minute, flick back here. This is where we are today. We've just got a small business, same people there. The crew have been there, most of the crew have been there between 4 and 17 years, so we haven't had much change in what we're doing. Our first ads, we sent them around, and that was mainly friends of the family, local farmers that would actually deal with us. And we just wrote that. We didn't have a printer. We tied the bags up with baling twine and basically did the inoculant in a little bathtub actually. So it was pretty much in the first loads that got unloaded when we unloaded 17 tonne. There was no forklifts or anything like that. And I was a bit disgusted. The Elan got a bit worn out after about the first 10 tonne. I was thinking, oh, this is just ridiculous. So there's our marketing idea. We decided we should call the bags Vat Buster because the milk was going in vats, and we said, you feed this grass, you're going to bust the vats open. Nowadays, that's the crew we got there. The dogs around everywhere we go. We send stuff pretty much all over the eastern seaboard of Australia. It goes pretty much everywhere. I think, and today, so the last 3 slides, Andy. So the last 3 slides, this is what we're doing today. I think we tried to have a motto of that when someone rings up, you just say, yeah, you can do it. Don't know if you always can, but yeah, we can do it. It'll be right. So they wanted in, South Australia, Mount Gambier tomorrow. So yeah, no worries, it'll be fine. Sometimes there was trips in the middle of the night to try and get it there, where it did themselves. I still remember driving out to the farm one day, and I dropped something off. There was a farmer there, and I see him down the paddock getting his cows in, and I thought, well, I'll just lay down in the paddock here and wait for him to come up in the lane to check where I should drop it. I thought, I'll do the right thing and put it exactly where he wants his seed. I woke up 9 hours later. All I could see was stars. Farmer had gone home. It was 12 o'clock at night. I'd actually laid down in his paddock and I'd gone to sleep. I still had about another 3 hours to drive to get back home, so that was an interesting one. Pretty frosty up north to finish off, pretty frosty. You can see the frosty, the cow image there where it'd been standing in frost only 3 or 4 weeks ago, and pretty dry. 20-something years ago when I come to a Nuffield interview, I was thinking, where do you come from, what do you do? And I was thinking, walk around every day in gumboots getting wet, I don't know what I'm doing. And now I'm thinking, I'm going mad, I'm looking at the Elders weather every second day and think they're trying to sell fertiliser, they tell us it's going to rain. Where are we now? That's where we are, not here. But Cruller Station at Gora, we run some young stock, a few beef animals. Walker Dairy is a dairy and Gidley's dairy, and our pasture seed businesses are in southern Victoria, but we sell to the area over the map. Also some went to Western Australia last year and a few other areas. I guess the passions, like all of us, family. Hopefully everyone loves their family. If they don't, they probably should. It's a good thing to love. So, I love my family. It's just great to have them around. It's good to see them. And we've got one other passion that's going to happen Friday night. And again, Saturday week, I hope, and that's Richmond Footy Club. Is a long time between drinks, and so I've already printed the one for this year. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm hoping that's where it ends up this year, and that's about it. Thanks very much.